Okay, so second week of January. Let's start with the calendar. So we're quite, um, lackluster, dead pretty much. There isn't really much going on in the first half of the week. So Monday, nothing. Tuesday, just have this balance of trade, which isn't that significant. Wednesday, nothing. And then Thursday, Friday are the main days of the action. So CPI, obviously a much anticipated event. Um, Definitely not the one to trade due to the large movement and the low probability and the manual intervention that can easily come in. Friday, depending on what we did here, we can have a high probability, uh, trade going into Friday. So something to keep an eye on. And apart from that, to be honest, nothing's really changed much. We kind of delayed the move that I was expecting last week to occur. We didn't do it last week, which makes it, even more likely that we will want to do that this week. So this was the low I was looking at, the previous monthly though, and the discount fair value gap. These levels were meant to be the ultimate levels for resistance. I didn't want any closing on a closing basis. I didn't want anything closing above these two, the volume imbalance and the daily. And obviously we haven't seen that, although we did see a wick, but that's fine. That's just doing the damage of inducing orders in. So yeah, continued analysis from last week. I'm looking at discount fair value gap. This one. This is obviously the crosshairs. This is close, so we're probably gonna want to read this first. Although looking at the economic calendar, you may notice that it's probably either not going to do anything and just move sideways between this high and low of the dealing range. But counterparty wise, there isn't really much here to work on unless it wants to go all the way up and take this high out, which is again unlikely. So again, I'm not really even expecting a really strong move up before the move down, like a classic. I think it's more going to be a case of that we just keep working on this basically daily fair value gap and just going lower. But of course, it doesn't need to start on Monday. It can just stay consolidated. So overall, that means a risk on profile for our currency and the other markets that we trade. And of course, without a surprise, we would expect premium levels here. This previous weekly high is definitely something to keep in mind. I guess previous monthly high actually now, yeah, because it's a December high. Uh, and again, counterparty wise, yes, we can go here, but again, with DXY, would want to have something up there as well, which it doesn't actually look like that it does. If I just go on a 4 hour real quick. So this is this basically. We can, we're just not likely to, okay? So it's best to just wait, because if it's gonna want to go up there, then it'll make it clear. Trust me. You'll look at the session opening and closings, and you can decipher from there. And actually, it's gonna want to go up here just above, and just shoot down if that occurs. Okay, for counterparty. Otherwise, I think it's just gonna want to work on these premium levels now. So the daily, and from there on, it's gonna go into this one, and eventually 4 hours. This 4 hour, for example, for targeting purposes, partial taking purposes, and then of course, this is the ultimate target. So that's what we're looking at. And apart from that, yes, pound dollar. So with pound dollar, I'll just do a quick analysis on this as well on the daily. I would expect this level and that premium daily fair value gap that you see up there is definitely a focus as well. Again, counterparty wise, you do have these relatively equal lows that it can visit. Although I still think it's not as probable to do that, but there you go. You have that there. And if you go on a 4 hour, then you'll find that this BISI, in fact, we almost closed it. There's a very small portion still open. That again can be used for counterparty liquidity pairing. And then that's the focus, the monthly high of December. So again, bulk of the action, I would say, you would expect that like any other week. You would expect that with the highest impact news event. Now that being CPI, so that's what I would expect. That with CPI, they're gonna want to drive that up into the premium levels for the currencies. So that's something for me to see going forward. So moving on to indices. Make a note of the fair value gap on the weekly chart here. So this one, this BISI. Now inside of that, you do see a daily fair value gap as well. If I just pull that back, you can see this is already like this is complete, and this is where the mean threshold was as well. So we just kind of bounced off on Friday and just closed really high up. Weekly expectation for this, to be honest, if we're gonna be staying with our risk on approach for dollar, looking for discount levels, then I would, expect this to want to go up into the premium levels. So definitely observe the role of this candle, this bearish breaker here. You do have these, fair value gaps as well. If you want to go on a 4-hour, you do see some more the big BISI here. That actually can be a breakaway gap as well. So yeah, the 4-hour fair value gaps. But I personally want to give it some time, to be honest, because what you can have is a move lower first and then a move higher, if it's gonna go higher at all. But again, the higher time frame direction with this, it doesn't really matter greatly because I like to just scalp this anyways. So it's useful to know it because you can then frame the trades in that direction more and then have a higher probability of those panning out. But yeah, I think this would probably need a little bit more time to develop for now. So we're just gonna have to leave this for now, basically. But I think if I gun to head, like I would definitely say that discount fair value gap, we're gonna want to have to do something with that first before we move up.